Hey everyone, welcome to the next Mario Land game we're doing, Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins.
Now why 6? Why not
Because
7?
because the Game Boy can't hold 8 worlds.
Can't hold 7 coins.
Yeah.
Well, 1, 2...
I don't know. We're up to 2 already.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
Wow,
Ryan.
I've heard of balancing a...
Mushroom!
I've heard of balancing a book on your head, but a shell. Wow, Mario's really, really talented.
More like this game's trying to be a handheld-ish Mario World, but it's failing at it.
Yeah.
It still has an identity of its own, but it's not quite as weird as Mario Land 1.
Commendable, though, I'll give it that.
Yeah, this is the game I grew up with more so than Mario Land 1.
I'm the complete opposite. I have little to no experience with Mario Land 2. I've seen it everywhere when the Game Boy was all the rage, and I never owned a copy of it. In fact, the first time I played it was on the 3DS eShop.
And to be fair, let's be honest, it's a much better looking game than Mario Land 1.
It's true, but there was a charm to Mario Land's very simplistic graphics and realistic settings.
Realistic, those those Easter Island heads were like creepy looking, man.
That's rather realistic.
If I'm honest, this game is hitting a weird uncanny valley between 8-bit and Super Mario World to me. I can't decide which it looks like.
Well, it's definitely an 8-bit version of Mario's Super Mario World sprite.
Well, except that now he's the Sultan of Agrabah.
A Babaloo.
Now, what is it with the Sultan's hat he gets when he's got the fire flower all of a sudden?
Well, that's because you don't have color on the Game Boy, so they had a distinguished way to let you know that he had the fire flower.
And unlike Samus's various suit, this did not become standard for good reason.
No.
Yeah.
One of the only problems with Mario Land was the lack of color. So when you got the Super Ball, you still just look like Big Mario. So you had to take their word that hey, trust us, you can throw a ball now.
So they decided to add a little feather to Mario's hat when he got the fire flower.
Yeah, that's smart thinking. Now this was Mario Land 2 was not Gunpei Yokoi.
No, I think it was. No, I think it was Yokoi, but it had more supervision by Miyamoto.
You know what? I should do some research on that right now. I really should have done it beforehand. But this was also the first game to introduce, as we saw through that castle.
The funny thing about Wario is that, from what I remember looking up like a year ago, the team that made this game was not originally like a team that made Mario games, so they were kind of angry about the fact that they had to make a game with a character that they didn't invent. So they invented Wario as a kind of like, Mario's stupid, and so that's why he's fat.
Super Mario Land 2 was created by director Hiroji Kiyotake, rather than Shigeru Miyamoto.
Okay, can I just say that those random invisible blocks that pop up right above a place where you're supposed to jump are bullshit?
So that's pure Kaizo.
Well, at least there's no bottomless pit.
True. It was produced by Gunpei Yokoi. And Miyamoto, I think, once again supervised it according to...
Yeah, I know he had more to do with this game than he did Mario Land 1, because he didn't like how Mario Land 1 came out.
Well...
Let me look up Hiroji Kiyotake, because I'd never heard of that name. Maybe I have. Oh, he was a character designer for Metroid, the original, and Kid Icarus, and Return of Samus. And he's the game designer for a lot of the Wario Land titles.
Yeah.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah, because, already the enemy design looks very, very different than most Mario games, like these frog things, I think.
Well, we're not even traveling through levels, we're traveling through zones, getting all Sonic up in this.
It was 1992, a year after.
Yeah.
What is the setting for Super Mario Land? In whatever bare excuse for a story this game's instruction manual contains.
Well,
the story for this game is after the events of Mario Land 1, Mario was going home to find that his longtime rival Wario had taken over his castle, and scattered his 6 keys to the door.
Wait, Mario has a castle?
Yes.
What? Since when?
His first $1 million contract.
Yeah.
And yet, in like Paper Mario and stuff, he's living in a wooden hut with Luigi.
Times got hard. They forgot to pay mortgage.
I like Mario's
the
a man
mortgage
of
bubble.
simple taste.
Yeah, the mortgage bubble burst.
Also,
on a few loans.
what is that stuff supposed to be? Some kind of weird gelatin stuff?
I guess. I still don't know what it's supposed to be.
It's gelatin and simultaneously hard water.
You know, it seems like the sort of thing that would have been a perfectly fine level gimmick in a 16-bit game with color, most particularly with color, but this is black and white Game Boy. So what is that? I can't tell.
Yeah, this game never got a DX version where like they added color to it. Where games like hello, not Tanuki Tail. Games like Link's Awakening and didn't Metroid 2 get a DX version as well? No. Oh, well, I'm thinking of something else then.
DX, not DX.
Super
Metroid
Mario
2
Brothers.
had Super Game Boy colors implemented, but you need obviously the Super Game Boy to activate them. But besides that, no, there was never a DX version of the game released.
Yeah, the Super Game Boy colors weren't really colors, though. They really just, like, washed the entire screen in, like, one given color, possibly with a different color for the player character.
No, but some Game Boy games did have Super Game Boy coding that wouldn't activate unless you plugged it into Super Game Boy.
Yeah, well, the Game Boy Color brought them out, too.
Yeah, no, not to do an extended Super Game Boy.
Huh.
Well, that's just because the Super Game Boy is on a TV, so it has a better screen for that sort of thing.
The cartridge. You also have the cartridge to help boost the cartridge of the Game Boy.
Huh.
Yeah, it seems like one of their primary goals for the Land series was to make it as un-Mario as possible when it came to enemy design. But this one reverts a little closer to the roots, because now we have, classic-looking piranha plants right out of Mario 3. We had Goombas earlier.
We have Koopa Troopas.
Koopa Troopas, and I think they're all called by their,
actual names
instead of the...
on the other hand, now we're jumping on giant ants.
Hey, I mean, we gotta liven up the enemy design in some way or another.
It's giving me Mumbo's Mountain flashbacks, actually.
I kind of wish that like games like the new Super Mario Brothers series would try to do stuff like that. Actual new enemies that.
Good one.
Oh, well, I'm not saying I don't like the new Super Mario Brothers games. I had a lot of fun with new Super Mario Brothers Wii, and I plan to get you at some point.
I think U's a lot better, to be honest.
So I've heard.
The heck is that? Most of these have at least been like...
It's a fly.
Oh, that doesn't look like... I thought it was like some sort of crow.
I thought it was a crow. I thought it was some sort of makeshift mosquito.
That is a tricky-ass enemy. I mean, like, it positions itself over a pit, and you think you can jump on it and get a good bounce over the pit, right? But then you try to jump on it, and it flies away, and you fall down the pit.
At the very least, this is one of those levels with it's not a bottomless pit. It's just you have to backtrack. So
it's freaking Wood Zone, man. That's exactly what it looks like to me.
Oh, come on. It's nowhere near as finished.
For this little mini game at the end here, if you just wait 1 second and then press the button, you'll almost always get 3 up.
Oh, well, no, it's not Wood Zone, Lewis. It's Tree Zone.
Well, yeah.
Get it right.
Now, this is one of the only Mario games to have a non-linear level progression, if I remember correctly, because you can do any of the zones in any order you want.
Yes.
Yes.
Which makes the game pretty easy overall until the last level, where it gets kind of a weird difficulty spike.
Well, that's actually... It's easily explained, and we all know why, is because since you can choose whichever zone you want to go first, they had to keep the difficulty balanced, so
yeah.
No one zone is harder than the other, just because of a choice that you made. But the final zone, I'm assuming, only unlocks when you complete all the other zones, so it's naturally going to be harder because you already completed the other 4 zones.
It's the Mega Man
that's
difficulty
interesting.
curve.
Yeah, I would say so.
The Mega Man difficulty curve in Micro, really. It's a nice way to design a game, as far as I'm concerned. But at the same time, I get a bit iffy on it when designers try to design the entire game that way. For example, Prince of Persia's 2008 reboot, which probably will never get a sequel because it's almost universally hated. The entire game was way too easy, and there was basically no difficulty curve at all, because it was designed so you could go through all the areas in whatever order you wanted.
A lot of games nowadays tend to veer towards that design choice, including Zelda.
Well, Zelda. Just to put this in perspective with the Zelda series in particular, Zelda started out really open-ended and got more linear as the series went on.
But it's been going back slightly towards that with Link Between
Well, Zelda
Worlds.
1, the thing about Zelda 1 is that you could do the dungeons in any order you want, but they were all numbered.
Except you couldn't.
Yeah, but they were all numbered
Except that,
you know, they intended for you to go 1 before 2. It's just that you could do it out of order if you wanted to.
The way I understand it from the interviews on the Wii U Zelda game, they had to make the games more generally linear because of the technology. Ocarina of Time, for example, couldn't exactly pull off the same level of non-linearity. Well, I imagine it could have if they had really, really tried at it, but it probably would have come out as a bugged-out mess like Morrowind or something.
Yeah, I take it the design choice for that game wasn't because they couldn't do it this way. It was deliberate. It's just, I think nowadays it's easier for them, considering the hardware. But you know, that's a Zelda tangent for another day. We have enough of those already.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, generally speaking, it's easier to create a structured difficulty when the game is linear. Like, you know, especially with a game like Zelda, I know we said first death.
The counter killed you.
I think what makes it a little bit easier to do in a game like Mario is that there's no power-ups that you need to get in no permanent power-ups, I should say, like a boomerang or whatever. So you always know what the player will have in any given situation. So they can design the levels around that, as opposed to being like, oh, we can't have a boomerang puzzle because they might not have the boomerang at this point, or so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's why they usually leave that sort of shit to the optional collectibles, which still manages to piss us off when we don't have the required power-up.
And here's one of the easiest things about Mario Land 2, the bosses.
Explain.
Oh, wow.
They all take 3 hits and they're all patterns are incredibly predictable.
So it's a Nintendo boss. Is what you're saying.
Good old Morgan hat.
I shall call it Boom Boom with Wings.
And that's one zone down.
Shiny.
And 1 coin down.
Yep. For some reason, Mario's Door has Mario Land 2 on it.
No, Mario already has another castle, like, about 5 miles to the west, and this is his second one.
No.
So Mario, what decided to make
Mario
you
Land.
open the second Mario Land right next door to the original? Money!
No, you see, it's the Hollywood naming scheme. He put a sequel number at the end so that people would think his castle was part of an already successful series. Would make it look better.
The hell are you doing?
I'm in a bubble.
Why are we inside somebody's snot bubble?
You never been?
Gordo's, what?
Yeah.
Wow, didn't I play a level exactly like this, only a whole lot shittier in Sonic Lost World?
Go, Mario, go!
Yeah,
Hey, you made it.
Mario here suffers from Omega Syndrome.
You can float over the entire
Basically, mash the button and you can pretty much float.
Oh, okay, that'll work.
No! Oh, wait, there.
Now you want
there-
to
there,
get
right.
to this upper path. This upper path takes you to the actual zone.
What does the lower path do?
It just finishes the level and you have to do it again.
What?
It's weird, I know.
Space!
Going to space before Mario Galaxy.
Oh, look at that.
Why does Mario need a helmet here?
Because not everybody's Sonic and can breathe in space. What the hell are these?
But
Pigs.
he can breathe in space later. What, did Mario evolve into some space-breathing New
Yeah,
York
man, he had to
plumber?
earn those lungs.
Well, no, he goes back and forth because he needs a helmet like this in Super Paper Mario.
And yes, we do have moon physics.
So, if you have the flying hat here, can you just infinitely fly without any risk of going down at all?
No, that still happens the same, but you get a lot higher jump.
And you
And this
fall
is
down a hell
and
of
this
a
is
lot
dickish
slower.
enemy placement.
That thing looks like it's ripped out of Mega Man. In fact, this stage looks like it's ripped out of Mega Man.
Well, there. Who's its face in Mega Man 5? Starman.
Yeah,
One of those two, yeah.
Starman
Yeah.
is 5, I think.
It's like this only looks not Mega Man when you see like the moon blocks or the question mark blocks, things that look Mario-ish. He has a different hat.
Another thing that's weird is that there are barely any mushrooms in this game. You almost always go straight to full power-ups.
They really want to distinguish this game from the other ones.
I guess.
Yeah.
I can understand the mentality if you're if you're a designer, you want to design your own stuff, and then you get shoehorned into someone else's franchise. It can be a bit frustrating. You want to be creative, but there are all these traditions and stuff.
Screw you, game. I'm not gonna finish. I need that extra. I need that power up, man.
Another hidden exit?
No, I
I
think
guess
it's just a way to get it. I just don't care at this point.
It's just a way to get enough height to get to the bell. Yeah.